Have you ever heard of someone who went from homeless teenager to ruler of one of the largest empires in human history? I'm talking, of course, about Genghis Khan. The Mongolian steppe, 1171 CE. A shy young boy named Temüjin, son of his tribe's chief, had just lost his father. Not nobly in war, not defending his family, not from age or sickness, or just falling from his horse. He was poisoned by a rival tribe. Losing your father at any age is difficult, but for Temüjin, things would be especially hard. His father's former allies ditched Temüjin, stole his horses, and kicked his family out of the tribe. Overnight, Temüjin went from tribal leader's son to an exiled vagabond, forced to eke out a living on the edge of society, hunting rats and small birds just to survive. Life would be hard for the shy young Temüjin, but it would forge him into the legendary Genghis Khan. Despite his difficult start, Temüjin prospered. By 18, he had a simple and happy life, with a wife and family of his own. He would have been happy to live that way and fade out of history. But fate had other plans for him. A rival tribe, the Merkit, kidnapped his wife in the night. Unfortunately for them, Temüjin was no longer the shy boy he had been in his youth. Now, he was a man. With the help of his uncle and sworn brother Jamaka, he raised an army, crushed the Merkit, and saved his wife. Later, Temüjin gained his own tribe and became Temüjin Khan. This was the beginning of the end of Temüjin and the first step towards the birth of Genghis Khan. Temüjin would eventually fall out with his sworn brother, but he recruited new allies who were great warriors in their own right. Over many years and many battles, Temüjin did something no one had ever managed before. He united the Mongol tribes. One of the secrets to Temüjin's success was that he had no great respect for authority or aristocracy. He was meritocratic through and through. While other empires drowned in stupid princes and genius bakers, Temüjin's forces had no such weakness. If you were bad at your job, you were replaced with a vengeance. Once the tribes were united, Temüjin took a new title, Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. It was a name he lived up to. By the time he was done, his empire stretched from the Caspian Sea in the west to the Sea of Japan in the east. And after his passing, Genghis Khan's children took up the mantle and expanded west into Europe, Persia, and Pakistan, south into China, and east to take Korea. Japan only escaped invasion thanks to a timely typhoon and being an island nation. At its peak, the Mongol Empire covered 44 million square kilometers, forming the largest contiguous empire the world has ever seen. In 1219 and 1260, Genghis Khan and his successors launched expeditions to the west. These weren't simple scouting missions, they were massive campaigns of conquest to capture new lands for the Mongol Empire. The people that went knew that victory was the only way they would survive, so they were decidedly unpeaceful campaigns. A silver lining to this military expansion was that these campaigns connected east and west like never before. Trade, technology, and culture started flowing across Eurasia. While the expansions were brutal, they unified and stabilized a massive amount of land. This made Marco Polo's travel blog possible. Without the Mongols, there could have been no Marco Polo. Some say Genghis Khan was a genius, an innovator who brought the world closer together. Others say, yeah, and he also killed more people than any plague. The death toll estimates are staggering. Some sources say tens of millions, maybe even over 100 million people. Kingdoms like the Jin dynasty, the Western Shah, and parts of the Middle East saw their populations collapse. This was because of the rather horrific Mongol military policy known as the three alls: destroy all, burn all, loot all. So depending on who you ask, Genghis Khan was either a brilliant unifier or history's ultimate villain. Genghis Khan had 8 sons, that we know of. He possibly had more. Mongol Khans were known to be very sociable. After his death in 1227, his third son, Ogadai, took over and kept expanding the empire, pushing into Russia, Poland, Hungary, and even knocking on Venice's door. His grandsons were overachievers too. Kublai Khan went south and conquered the Song dynasty and started the Yuan dynasty in China. They didn't just keep the family business running, they opened branches on every continent they could reach. So, hero or villain, Genghis Khan remains one of the most famous and most infamous figures in history. On the one hand, he built the largest empire the world had ever seen, revolutionized warfare, and bolstered global trade. On the other, he left a trail of destruction that would make Godzilla look like a polite houseguest. Maybe the truth is, he was both. A brilliant leader who could unite nations, and a ruthless conqueror who would burn them down just as fast. Either way, one thing's certain. In the game of who left the biggest footprint in history, Genghis Khan didn't just leave one footprint, he left 1,000 hoofprints and stamped his name into the history books.